Right, today I'm going to make a Malteser cake. I've got a 360 gram Malteser box there, but I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use 225 grams of this. I'm going to use a 200 gram block of milk chocolate, which we're going to break up and melt. I'm going to use 100 grams of butter. I'm going to use golden syrup. I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of golden syrup. I'm going to use 225 grams of plain digestive biscuits, which we're going to bash up in a bag to make fine crumbs. Take a clean bag, put your biscuits into it. Seal the bag up. Get rid of some of the air. And all we're going to do is crush the biscuits. And obviously it's not going to be very effective doing my hands, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my rolling pin out. So using my rolling pin, all we're doing is breaking up the biscuits. Now I'm looking for something fine as a texture, not lumps. So I'm going to keep pounding this until I'm happy with it. So I'm happy with that now. You can see in the bag, no big chunks. This is the same method that you would use when making the base of a cheesecake. So take the chocolate, all we're going to do is just cut it up into small enough pieces that will allow us to melt the chocolate quicker. That should do it. Now what we're going to do is get a saucepan, heat some water up and put a bowl on top of the saucepan. Now the important thing is when you're melting chocolate is not to have the bowl touching the water, because the bowl will get too hot, and as a result of that the chocolate will start to burn and go grainy. Now the water has just come up to temperature. It's starting to boil, so I don't want it to boil. I'm going to turn it lower. I'm going to put my butter and my chocolate. It's 100 grams of butter and all of my chocolate onto the top of the bowl, and we're going to slowly stir this in, and then we're going to add 3 tablespoons of golden syrup. Now my chocolate is starting to melt in the bowl. Stir in the butter. Now I've completely taken the chocolate off of the heat. All we're doing is just stirring around the heat of the chocolate that's already there. We'll melt the lumps still unmelted. And because there's no heat, as the chocolate is melting from the lumps into liquid, that is also cooling the chocolate down. So what I'm going to do now is add 3 tablespoons of golden syrup. Now the chocolate's melted, the syrup is now mixed in. Now all we're doing, we're bringing the chocolate to heat and then cooling it down again. We are tempering the chocolate, heating it up, melting it, and then cooling it. It's called tempering, and that stops the chocolate going grainy when it sets after it's been heated. So what we want to do now is add in our 225 grams of biscuits. Put a whole lot in. Stir the chocolate in. So now we want to add in our Maltesers. That's 225 grams of Maltesers. So we keep stirring this. Now I've got a 7 by 8 baking tin, and all I've done is lined it with greaseproof paper I'll just cut the corners so it fits in. All we do to there, toss it in there, and then we've got our mixture, which we've nicely combined. Now, sometimes the chocolate's going to melt from the Maltesers, so they're going to slightly go bald. Don't worry about that. All we need to do is take the chocolate mix and pour it into the bowl, from the bowl into our tin. All we're going to do is just lightly press it out into the corners. Before it all sets. So just quickly press these into the corners. Press down. You can use a spatula. I'm just using the back of a wooden spoon. And what we're going to do next is we are going to chill this. We're going to put this in the fridge for a good 2 hours to set, and then we'll come back and we'll cut it up into squares. So here is our Malteser cake. It's actually more like a Malteser bar, to be fair. It's very chewy, very moist, and with a hint of crunch where you've got the honeycomb from the Maltesers coming through. You can see some of the Maltesers had their chocolate melted off. It just adds to the contrast with the chocolated Maltesers. It gives a bit of colour to the recipe. I hope you go on to make this, because it's a great one to make with children. They would love to get their hands on these, I'm pretty sure, and scoff the lot in about 5 seconds flat. Enjoy.